So we got our butts kicked, like plain out 40 robots on our field, 160 robots at the competition total, by the way. We were one of 4 teams who won an award called the Rising All-Stars Award.
There's no love for me in any of that, which is beautiful, which is amazing. Like, this is the first time where it's a company detached from me, where everyone else is working together, and I just kind of am available sometimes to help.
We had 100 people on the mailing list, percent open rate, percent click rate or something. So we had 9 sign up for MetaMonster. And of those 9 people who clicked through, made it all the way through creating an account and putting down a credit card, and then they immediately canceled. Is this the start of the long, slow SaaS ramp of death?
Our first big roadblock was until I have a name for it. Does that have a .com available? Okay. Shit. Maybe. How you doing? Welcome back. How was Robotics?
Robotics was good and bad, good, bad.
Okay.
So we got our butts kicked, like
Oh.
plain out, got our butts kicked. We got there. The robots were insanely good, all of them. We played well. Like, there's this crazy advanced stats thing in robotics.
Yeah.
Some probably like 20-year-old or something built a website called Bottleneck that pulls the live data from it's all the live data is published through the site called the Blue Alliance from every match, and he runs that through some sort of equation statistical
Cool.
thingy, and creates he calls it EPA, estimated points added,
Okay.
which is supposed to, because like robots always compete in teams of 3, and so EPA is like, how much of your total score did you actually contribute to the
what does
the
EPA
team.
stand for?
Estimated points added.
Estimate. Okay. Gotcha. Okay.
So anyway, this is a long rambly way to say that, like, throughout the competition, so there were 40 robots on our field, 160 robots at the competition total, by the way, 4 fields going simultaneously, all right next to each other. So it's like pure chaos. It's wild. It's really fun and interesting and crazy.
Yeah. Sweet.
We go into the weekend ranked top 20 in EPA, like maybe 17 or something like that. And our goal was to end up like around that range at the end of qualifiers. Like, if we had ended up around that range, gotten picked for playoffs, we would have been a lock for Worlds. Our EPA stayed around that range. Like, we were at one point as high as like 11. We finished 22 in EPA, and then like it fluctuated kind of between that range. So we were playing well. Our driver was driving well, but we just got our butts kicked in the actual matches. And EPA is definitely not perfect. It's not everything. Like, it has a bunch of obvious flaws. And so, like, just because our EPA was good didn't mean we were doing well. But like,
Yeah.
we had some hiccups here and there. But like, objectively, I think the team, like, the kids drove well. I think they played well. But we ended up ranked 38th out of 40. So we just got whooped. We won one match the entire weekend.
But out of the top 40.
Well, top 160, like top
Okay.
40. There were 40 in our field, 160 robots there total, and most of the robots never play each other, so you don't really know who the top 40 are.
I just meant like of the state.
Yeah.
Because
We were top 160. Again, what I'm saying is,
Yeah.
like, 160 in the state.
got it.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
And so, like, that part sucked. Like, it sucked to lose a bunch of matches. It really, you could tell it was like wearing on the kids after a while. We had a little bit of drama that we had to work through with the team, like some, it was sort of getting to people, and it was causing some conflict and tension and stuff. But the good side of it is we worked through all of that. We got our first win. We celebrated the heck out of that. Celebrated the heck out of the seniors, just, making it to states and their senior season and all of that. And then really cool on Saturday. We didn't get picked for playoffs, so we just had Saturday to chill, which was honestly really nice and fun, and like just got to spend a lot of time. Like, the team got to spend a lot of time bonding and hanging out and watching robots do cool robot shit. And then we were one of 4 teams who won an award called the Rising All-Stars Award, which is
Sick.
given to a team that is like has grown drastically and is on an upward trajectory, which is exactly what we are.
I love it.
And so that was really cool. It was really cool to get that. Um, and so like final rankings in the state, which again are imperfect in the same way that stats are imperfect and all this stuff, but final ranking in the state, we finished 91st in the state out of like 600 teams. So still objectively an incredible season, drastically overperformed where we thought we were going to be. Um, the bar like just keeps getting raised every season. I think clearly our goal for this season was to get to states, and now our goal for next season is pretty clearly get to worlds, which is just a crazy thing to say because
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
4 years ago, like 2020 season, this team was down to one kid and like barely getting a functioning robot to competitions.
Yeah.
And now we're like, no, we think we can realistically compete for worlds within the next few years.
I mean, that's awesome. Like, I hope everyone is super proud of all of that. So
Yeah, I
that's
think
pretty
they
sweet.
are. Like once they got over the initial losing streak and then like we got the win and then we got the award, and I think that the team was able to like feel really proud and really excited.
Mhm.
And yeah, a bunch of the kids are like excited for the off season. They want to take on off season projects and they're like really excited for next season. Some kids who we might have lost because they were going to other schools want to come back and be part of the team even if they go to another school. So like vibes were really good even if we objectively got our butts kicked.
Nice. Well, nice. Good job. Good job. Good job. Good stuff.
Thanks.
Congrats.
Yeah. I am exhausted. I
Yeah.
like I am kind of relieved we did not make worlds because then I would have had a week to raise like $20,000 and
Yeah.
I would just be super tired. Um, by the way, we're not technically out like 100% out of the running yet. There's still like some teams that could decline, and then like the 88th ranked team in the state got an offer yesterday to
Whoa.
move up to worlds, and we're 91. Um,
Whoa.
and at this point, like we're hoping and praying it doesn't happen
Right.
because we're just like too tired. Um, like I'd rather go next year at
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
point, but obviously if they offer, we'll say yes. So
Yeah.
um,
Okay. Well, good luck to either outcome, whichever
yeah,
one is good.
I
I
think
guess.
bad luck is what I want. Like
Right.
I don't really know, but yeah. So it was overall, I would say it was really really good, even
Mhm.
though like yeah, we
Nice.
definitely got our butts kicked a little bit, and competition was tough.
Um. Well, cool. Nice. While you've been gone, we I don't know. We've been busy. We've been. It's a crazy time. It's a crazy time. We are prepping for RSA, which is end of the month, which is pretty
Hmm.
wild. Um, we're
How
not.
many ongoing projects do you have with like RSA as the deadline?
I can't count. I don't know what to tell you.
Too many.
Too many. We get inbound. Like we can't
Please tell
like.
me you're not still getting inbound for RSA.
I feel like we just did, like
Clients, man.
early in the week or last week or something. Yeah. Uh, yeah. While you've been gone, a lot of miscreant stuff. We just did a retro, which is like the first retro we've ever done
Hmm,
as a
cool.
team, for the quarter.
Hmm.
And that was really cool. Like everyone sort of filled things out. I wasn't even really a part of it. Like they filled like what's going well in design, what's going well in dev, all that stuff, and like shout outs for people, and like everyone's shouting each other out in the thing. I'm like there's no love for me in any of that, which is beautiful, which is amazing. Like this is the first time where like it's a company detached from me where everyone else is working together, and I'm just kind of am available sometimes to help, but and and I'm generally unreliable, which is just good. Yeah.
Any like specifics that you can share from that? Like anything that kind of surprised you, that that people said you were doing well, or that people said needed to be done better, that like kind of caught you off guard, or that you think was like really spot on that you feel like you can share publicly?
Um I think nothing was surprising. I think what was a really good indicator was that like JJ let the retro, and a bunch of people spoke up and were saying things, and that I think is a very different vibe than just like the cult of Sean, like the solar system, and everyone rotates around me. I think that uh like to zero credit of my own, I think one of the problems I've always had running the company in the early days was that everything also felt siloed, right? I was the router, route work, and I thought that was like delegation enough, like of doing task delegation. But then I always had this frustration of like, why does this person and this person not like why don't they ever talk to each other? And I think what was cool was that it seems like there's plenty of people talking to each other, and designers and devs are talking to each other. And it's helpful that our dev is, also a design professor, so is also able to do design and like support in that way. Um, so like I think generally vibes were good. I think, um, hmm, I don't think anything was surprising. I think we came out of it with some like good what to do better um, things, um, like ideas. One of the things that always gets brought up is the fact that clients don't get content in time for a website to launch until the last minute.
If you
Um,
can solve that problem,
yeah,
like let me
yeah, yeah.
know. Uh,
Yeah. Well,
the,
our thinking now is to do like a content extraction workshop, which is probably the one piece of
ooh,
like value I added to
it's
that
an
entire meeting.
interesting way to tackle it. Is like get
Yeah.
there and is that sort of like you all do like interviews and then produce content from that, or you just sit there and hold the client's hand and force them to write?
That that it's like pulling. We're gonna pull teeth. Is that seemed to be the But I think that's good. I think that's
The other
yeah.
way to handle it, I guess, is just to like require clients to let you produce the content.
Right. Right. But that's a lot of work. Um, Well, it's been a lot of work because I've always been the bottleneck there. I think that I got called out on one of the things
I
that
mean,
aren't going well is like when we don't have content internally.
copywriter is like a pretty straightforward position to hire for, even freelance, I think.
I tried. It's been tough. Yeah, because I need
Curating copywriting is harder than a lot of
y-
copywriting because you need
yeah.
someone who understands the technical stuff at a deep enough level to avoid just
Hmm.
filling the thing with cliches or inaccuracies.
Yeah. That's pretty much the hard. Yeah, that's basically the hardest part of it. But we have a really great. I mean, the new product marketer we brought on is awesome. We I don't know. It's been good. It's been good vibes all around. We are yeah yeah we're I think it's gonna happen, but they were talking about doing like badges across the team of like a particularly tough client. I'll get a sticker or a badge. It's like I survived XYZ, and all I got was a sticker or things like that. I think it just spun out of some internal jokes people were having. So
Funny.
it's cool.
We
That's cool.
were also
Yeah.
talking about doing a
Oh,
badge system for the
nice.
robotics team, mainly
Uh,
because like as the team was losing and taking it really hard, we were like, "Oh, we need to do a better job of highlighting like success that
yeah.
isn't directly tied to winning matches."
Mm,
And so we were talking about having some sort of badge or certificate system so that part of your feeling of success can come from I learned a new skill,
yeah.
um, or I'm now qualified to teach other students the skill, even,
Yeah.
and not just we won a match or we lost a match, because then that gets tough.
Interesting. That is kind of the same takeaway I had out of my thing. Like,
I mean, the
yeah.
like so one of the interesting things about this weekend was like as we were having some of the drama on the team and having the kids struggle with the losses, a friend of our lead mentor came over and helped us out, and like her whole thing now is just floating around to teams and helping mentors like communicate with kids better and everything.
Yeah.
And as she was talking us through all of this stuff, I was like, there are a lot of fucking adults who could use this exact same advice. Like
Totally.
this is does not just apply to children. Like this 100% applies to the workplace. And if you ever wanted to make a stupid amount of money, you could just go be a culture consultant and like help people put processes into place to better communicate as a team.
I mean, separately. I mean, I feel like absolutely. I think there's a couple of folks that do that.
Oh, for
One of
sure.
them is called
Organizational consultant is like a huge thing.
totally. Um,
There's even organizational psychologists and stuff.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Cool. 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 Um, yeah. Uh, what else is going on? What else happened last week?
So you may have heard we launched MetaMonster on Monday.
Whoa.
Yay!
Yay. How'd it go?
Whose
I've
brilliant
been
idea was it
burning.
to launch a product like the day after States while I was still like partially I'm gonna use the term hungover. I obviously wasn't like drunk at States or anything like that,
Right.
but I was like just so tired and so wiped out and just like had a headache and it felt like I was hungover even if I wasn't.
I feel that. Yeah.
Um uh I'll also say good bad, bad
Okay.
good.
Okay. I've been waiting all week,
I
by the way.
know.
I
And
haven't.
I've been trying to like figure out how like should I signal to you that like it's not as hype as I want it to be, or should I just wait and unload to you on the pod? So
Uh-huh.
here we are.
Is this why you're feeling salty, by the way?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay. Okay.
100%.
Okay. Gotcha.
I'm mad at myself.
Okay.
Um
Okay. All right. So what happened? What's the deal?
Um, it's just been quiet. It's just been a kind of lackluster launch, which is not unexpected, right? Like I think people way overemphasize launches
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
like you never make or break a business off the launch. A launch is just kind of a point in time and like you're going to have a million tiny launches throughout the course of your product. But I still like want to use that as an opportunity to try to generate some buzz and I just feel like there wasn't any buzz generated. So, um, looking at metrics, like the metrics aren't great. Like we had 300 people on the mailing list. We got like a 23% open rate on the launch rate email, and then a like 3% click rate or something. So we had 9 people click through to like sign up for MetaMonster.
Cool.
And of those 9 people who clicked through, um, only one made it all the way through creating an account and putting down a credit card, and then they immediately canceled.
Oh.
So they like signed up and then immediately canceled, so they wouldn't be charged. Which like fair,
Okay.
um, but and it's someone that I know and I have talked to, and like they were genuinely curious about the tool, but they're like not really a great fit for the tool. They were
Gotcha.
more just curious to see what I was working
Gotcha. Gotcha.
on.
Gotcha.
And then I was like, okay, shake it off. I also sent out an email to my personal mailing list, which got more clicks, although not all to the app, but like got some more opens and clicks and stuff. It's a much bigger mailing list. Haven't seen any conversions come through that I can tell. I got Google Ads cranking again,
Cool.
and that's been it always takes a little while to ramp up to like full speed. Like they do their kind of algorithm
Yeah, they have learning
testing.
mode and all that stuff. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not at full speed yet. I think it's only driven I don't know 10 or 20 people to the site. Um, we got another person who came through and like made it all the way through the sign up flow. Um, and also canceled pretty quickly. So, um, I think the biggest it's hard to tell and it's hard not to overreact. Like it's hard to tell what's going on and hard to tell like how seriously to take these different signals. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so you know, there could be a bunch of different reasons for why we're seeing what we're seeing. One, I didn't do as good a job as I could have of keeping the waiting list warm and like building excitement and building hype, and we haven't shipped features that fast, and so like there hasn't been a ton to talk about, and that could be a reason. It could be that you know the tool really is a web crawler that can do page title and meta description generation right now. We still don't have our CMS integration, which is like I think is going to be a limiting factor for a lot of people because it just sounds like a lot of work to export something to a CSV and then get it into a CMS. We're really close on that, by the way. Austin has it functional. He's just wrapping up the last like API key generation stuff. He's submitted to the WordPress plugin store, so hopefully we'll be releasing that within the next week. Um, so like, lack of CMS integration could be hurting us. Lack of general functionality could be hurting us. Um, uh, I think I'm worried that we might be overpriced. I I got some feedback from a few alpha users on pricing, and the feedback was generally like super positive. Like, yeah, this feels right. This looks good. Um, and so I kind of, maybe I should have listened to that, but instead I doubled the pricing. Because I was like, if no one's complaining about it, we're undercharging. Is like the conventional wisdom that I've often heard. Um,
That's
and
fair.
so
That's
I
fair.
just like I doubled the pricing, and now that puts us in. I was just doing some market research before this call, and like that definitely puts us in like a higher bracket of SEO tools when we still have pretty limited functionality. So I think we might be overcharging. This is also the first product I've ever launched that required a credit card up front, which was an intentional decision to add friction to the sign up process to be like so that we could reduce tire kickers and make sure that the people we were getting in the product like really were interested in it. um, but maybe that's too much friction. Maybe we should, maybe we need to show people how easy the product is to use and give them a little more of a taste of value before they have to put a credit card in, whether that's just switching to like a no credit card required free trial or switching to like a usage based free trial. Um, so there's a bunch of different like possibilities swirling around in my head for what we may need to do differently. Um, Definitely not loving the conversion rates I'm seeing. Like, you know, 60 people have visited the sign up page in the last 3 days, and 2 have made it all the way through. So I'm not loving that. Um, but I also, again, there's another part of me that's just like trying not to overreact because it's so early and we really have gotten very little traffic. Um, so yeah, I'm feeling um, a little disappointed, a little like, yeah, this is kind of what I expected to happen, and then a little bit like impatient.
Hmm.
Like I want to do all these things, I want to change all these things, but I also want to try to wait and see what the real numbers are with a little bit more data. And I'm just like,
Right.
so I'm just feeling kind of antsy and impatient and kind
Yeah.
of frustrated. Um,
Yeah.
Austin was like, "Is this the start of the long, slow SaaS ramp of death?" I was like, "I guess.
uh
I guess we're here."
well, in a way, that's a win. Um Also, going back to the whole uh I'm gonna stop therapizing in a second, or playing but like, going back to the whole, the kids with the badges and the learn new skills and the launch, product.
Yeah.
Like, I know an adult that needs that needs that. I know two adults, you and me, who both need that talk. But but also, like, isn't this a beta launch though?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, 'cause it's not
It's
like
a
you posted on Product Hunt or any Reddit or
no.
like any
I've spent the last like couple days posting to a bunch of smaller
Okay,
directories.
okay,
By the way, the directory business such a fucking racket. I have
totally.
dropped like $500 to post to like a bunch of directories,
Yeah, yeah,
fully expecting to get zero traffic from them.
totally. How much traffic have you gotten from them?
I mean, I've
Oh, okay,
just did this yesterday and today, so
gotcha,
probably none so far.
gotcha,
But
gotcha,
um, you know, I'll be able to tell you better next week.
gotcha. I think the value isn't.
The value I'm doing it for backlinks.
Yeah,
That's
yeah, exactly. It's
I'm
it's like the
I'm
cheapest
buying
backlinks you can
backlinks.
buy.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, they're just because they're a volume play. They're so much cheaper than a guest post, right? Okay, well, I'm curious how that goes. Um, I feel sus about it. I mean, how did this compare with chart juice? Not that you launched it in this way with Chartjuice with a credit card
Yeah,
thing,
with
but
Chartreuse, I didn't. I might have had a little waiting list. Can't remember. I don't know that I did. Um, and then with Chartreuse, I did an opt out or opt in free trial, so
mm,
no credit card required. Um, Pretty low conversion rates on that too. Um, ran some Google ads for like a month or something, and you know, I wasn't even the. I think the biggest difference, the thing that I'm still kind of holding on to as the biggest positive, is I'm still getting people to talk to me
mm-hmm,
in a way that I never did with Chartjuice. With Chartjuice, it was like hard to get people to sign up, and the people who did sign up, I couldn't get to talk to me. But like here, our alpha users, even the ones who aren't using the product actively, are still happy to talk to me and everything.
mm-hmm,
The guy who signed up and kicked the tires and then canceled, like I reached out to him and he gave me some good feedback, which was generally positive. It was just like, hey, I like the tool. It's easy to use. Like I was just kind of curious about it.
mm-hmm.
Got the feeling that he doesn't really pay much for SEO tools. He's going to pay as little as possible, so not a great
Sure,
fit. But
yeah,
um, um, so yeah, I think that's a positive that I'm trying to stay focused on. And like to the thing that feels different about this versus Chartreuse is like we're not really inventing like Chartreuse, there were so few chart to image APIs. Like the
right,
space we were trying to live within was like not really an established market.
right,
And here there are so many web crawlers and like SEO tools that leverage AI already and stuff. And so it's a much more established market. Um, and we have lots of ideas for things we want to do to improve the tool that'll bring us more directly in line with some of the competition, get us up to feature parity. Uh, I don't think we're going to try to be exactly like any of the tools we've seen out there, but we will certainly have more overlap within a few months than we do right now.
mm-hmm,
Um, and then there's still lots of things that I want to do to increase traffic. I'm seeing little trickles of SEO and YouTube working, um, and so I want to keep pushing on SEO and content marketing and stuff. I want to
yeah,
turn cold outreach back on and see if I can get any, at least some conversations from that, that I was, you uh, so that I can learn again now that we've got a product and I can say like, hey, can you give me feedback on this tangible thing instead of like,
mm-hmm,
hey, I'm building a thing maybe in the future. So like lots of ideas, um, not all negative signals. Just like I think we're in that hard slog early period.
yeah. I think you're not in the. I don't know. If this is in the what is it? The trough of sorrow? Is that what it's called? The SaaS?
The
Like,
long, slow SaaS ramp of death.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So the idea behind the long, slow SaaS ramp of death is just that like when you launch a SaaS product, you're stacking like 20, 30, 40, $50 a month
Yep.
charges. And it just, until you find product market fit and you find a reliable distribution channel, you're slowly growing revenue
Yeah.
until you get to the point where you've solved a couple things and you start feeling the effects of compound growth.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so I think that's
Mm-hmm.
pretty squarely where we are.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, I was thinking totally, 100%. I think you're very, yeah. I think you're very much in the early part of that. Yeah. In my brain, I was thinking of what is the thing with the Airbnb guy? It's like like the trough of sorrow where he gets into a bunch of credit card debt. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think those two are related. Where you see some initial
Uh huh.
success and then it kind of plummets a little
Yeah.
bit, and then you're like struggling to find your way, and then you
Right.
find
Right.
something that's working, and
Right. Right. Then you hockey
yeah.
stick growth. Um. Gotcha. So what are you gonna do about it? What's
So I'm gonna try to be patient for
okay?
one,
Okay.
and try not to overreact. I think that's step one.
Okay.
I am going to keep doing some market research, and I'm seriously thinking about cutting our prices.
Mm-hmm.
Um, um, I am going to keep pushing on acquisition. Like, we're still getting a very small amount of traffic to the website, which makes it hard to know what to make of any of this.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to keep pushing on that. Um, like I said, with by turning cold outreach back on, my hope is to at least have conversations with people, have sales conversations, and figure out if people don't want to buy, why.
Right.
Um,
Right.
and then we're gonna keep adding the features that we think need to be in the product for it to be a much more compelling tool.
Sure.
Um,
Yeah.
the market research made me feel better in a way. It's
Okay.
interesting. Like, Rank Math has this AI offering
Mm-hmm.
that claims to be able to do anything. They've got like a collection of like 125 prompts. You can use it for a bunch of different shit, and like the most expensive version costs $15 a month.
Gotcha.
So like that sucks. It's like, oof, if we're having to compare against that blows.
Sure.
Um, I think that's for like a single site
Mm-hmm.
versus like multi sites and stuff. Um, but then Ahrefs, as far as I can tell, you have to have an existing Ahrefs subscription
Yeah.
and then add a $200 per month per site add
Yeah.
on
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
in order to get access to what is currently the only things their AI like patch feature can do right now are meta descriptions, page titles, and broken links, uh, like links that point to a 404 page. Um,
Nice.
and so it's like, if that's the bar, and if they're, I don't know if they're selling that, right? Like, I have no idea. It's such a
Mm-hmm.
new feature. I don't know if they're selling that. But if they are, and we can compete with that, that feels
Yeah, that feels
very doable.
well. Yeah, yeah. I've seen the pop-ups every once in a while when I log into Ahrefs. So I was like, I'm not paying for this. Um,
Interesting. Yeah.
um, and I think I'm closer to the ICP in this case, right? Even with clients, like there's just no value, or not that there's no value. It's just expensive. It's just
Yeah.
like way too expensive. A per site is also crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Link
I
Scout's pricing is, they have like a free, they call it a free trial, not a free tier.
mhm.
Um, but they have their like free trial, and then they're $50 a month and $200 a month. And the pricing that we launched with starts at 50, goes 50, 100, 200, 400.
Mhm.
And so I'm kind of thinking that if I cut that in half and go 25, 50, 100, 200, that'll put us closer to standard SEO ranges.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, you know, the bottom end maybe a little high. It's hard because you're comparing
I think
apples to oranges. Like, so many of these things have totally different features. Like, we're not going to compare to Ahrefs
yeah. Yeah.
directly, but I think just trying to look at it from like, how will users be thinking about this? What does this pricing look like? And I feel like if I were a user right now, the pricing would feel really high for what you're getting. The flip side of that is maybe just be patient and like keep adding features to the tool until it feels worth.
I think you should keep adding features to the tool for sure. But I also think you said something really important earlier about this sort of like finding that one distribution channel that works. Like, I think 25 is great. I think you'll find a lot of folks who buy it for 25. But I think when you talk about your ICP, I don't know if it's those people that are like 25 feels like I'm a single, like I've one or two sites, right? And I'm going to use the thing because 25 is affordable. Once you're at 50, you're going for like SEO agency, SEO freelancer, 50 managing 50 sites. Um,
And right now, our pricing, our first tier is aimed at solo individuals.
mhm,
Um,
I see.
it's 50, and then
Okay,
our first agency tier is 100. And
gotcha,
so
gotcha.
it feels to me like those
That's right. I
this
forgot I got a sweetheart deal on it.
yeah.
But okay. Well, the thing that I'm trying to get to is I don't think I think the problem. is that you haven't landed in, like, you haven't gotten the eyeballs in front of more of just your ICP, like, um right. I mean, I don't know who those 300 people are, or I don't
Mhm.
know where you're going with like you're getting with ads and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, like, yeah, I don't think there's meta monster awareness with the Jackie Chows of the world, or whatever, like SEO people at the moment, right? You're not in the like local SEO space, or the, those guys are like the rank and rents,
For sure.
or the or just like more white hat SEO stuff. Like, but like, you haven't posted in, I doubt, you've posted in like black hat SEO forum,
Well, I
right?
don't think I wanna post in black hat SEO forums. Like, I don't wanna
No, 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 that specific, like that. There's one specific one, which is like Black Hat World. Have you heard of that?
no, but
Okay.
still, that doesn't feel like our ICP to me. Anyone
Uh,
who's hanging out in black hat world does not feel like our ICP.
I beg to differ. I think there's a lot of SEOs in there.
I'm sure there
Um,
are, but like,
yeah.
I feel like I'm looking for more of like the professional consultant, small agency SEOs, which don't feel like the
Uh-huh.
kind of people who are drawn to black hat world.
That's fair. I mean, I see your point. I see your point. Um, yeah, I see your point. I just like have a hard time delineating those two from like, I think there's plenty of people who still go on that to like keep up, and there's plenty of
Sure.
those folks that run SEO agencies, especially like local SEO. Okay, I think the what do you call it? The Venn diagram of folks that run SEO agencies and are in maybe like Black Hat World, or like local SEO agency, like or sorry, agencies that do local SEO, so more Google Maps based um, sort of work, right? They'll help you set up a website, try to get you a Google List My Business, try to pump into that. But yeah, I see your point. It's
I
not
don't know that I want our brand affiliated with black hat world.
I gotcha. I gotcha. I
Yeah,
gotcha.
at
Yeah,
least not
yeah,
yet. I'm
yeah,
not.
yeah, yeah. It's too content goblin-y. I got.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. No.
I am trying to think
Mhm,
through like, and it's just way too early to tell, but I am curious if our ICP is going to end up being who I currently think it is, which is like small boutique SEO agencies that are like their bread and butter is SEO, or
mhm,
if it's going to end up being folks more like miscreants that are like general purpose marketing agencies that have to provide some level of SEO for their clients, but it's not like their bread and butter. And I could see us actually being more useful to someone like that because they're like, I'm not going to invest the time in like
mhm,
diving deep, deep, deep into SEO land and like configuring these really complicated tools. I just want something that'll get me to 80% for my clients as quickly as possible. So I have been
mhm.
thinking about that a little bit. Um,
Yeah. I mean, my gut still feels like the former feels more correct. I mean, I certainly think that web dev agencies are a good secondary ICP. Um, yeah. I think what it is that we don't get asked to do SEO work. We just do it because we want to, and because we get brought on to do like marketing retainers after. A lot of I think a lot of web dev agencies don't continue to do, or web design for sure, but like web design into web dev don't get asked to do like the same type of main like SEO retainer work as much
I
often.
I would challenge that. I see a
Okay.
fuck ton of general purpose marketing agencies that offer SEO as an ongoing service. A fuck
Yeah.
ton.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. We're saying two different things. I'm saying web design agencies. You're saying general purpose marketing agencies. But
Whatever.
okay.
Web design agencies that like I see a lot of people
Uh-huh.
branded as a
Mhm.
web design agency that offer ongoing services.
Okay. Fine. Fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um. Anyway, Maybe you're right then. Maybe it is. Maybe it is like general purpose marketing folks who need like the Pareto principle of SEO. Like gets you. But then, how does that change the way you start building and thinking about the product? Because
Well, it changes things, I think. So like one of the things that I have been debating is like how opinionated to make the product and how much to like hold your hand and like in our marketing material, how much to talk about how SEO works versus assuming that our audience are experts.
mm,
So I think it changes a lot about how we talk about MetaMonster and how we build help documents and just supporting marketing materials. If we're assuming that our people are like marketers who know a little bit about SEO but aren't really experts, then I want to do a lot more explaining and a lot more talking about, you know, doing this will benefit you from an SEO perspective here. Versus if I'm selling to experts, then I'm going to talk a lot more. I'm going to assume they know like when it's worth updating a meta description and when it's not,
mm-hmm,
and just talk to them more about like, you know, time savings and like client, making their life easier,
mm-hmm.
um, you know, sort of stuff.
Is there any value prop that moves past just the time savings portion of it?
I don't know yet.
Okay.
So one thing I heard recently is that like we're kind of you were telling me this from microconf. There was that guy
Yeah.
saying like don't talk about time savings or making money, talk about like um ease of use and
Explicitly, yeah. Explicitly, it was no one buys a product to spend more time
mhm,
on the task. And then he had a good like Harvard Business Review thing that he brought up where like reasons why people buy, and like uh product experience and everything was far like greater than time savings. Time savings was quite literally the last bit
mhm.
of like the why people buy chart. Um, yeah, that's sort of what came into mind. It was like I wonder, yeah, I wonder what, um, I wonder what else you can add on to it. For example, right, one thing we are struggling with internally. So please build this into MetaMonster because you have already. Um, we need to. We are redesigning someone's site
Uh-huh.
right now. They have a copywriter.
Mhm.
This is not SEO anymore, right? This is the entirety of Monster Endeavors and everything. But
Mhm.
I think I've always told you what the really cool thing you've also built is the fact that you scrape the entire site and you
Yeah.
turn it into Markdown, and now
Yep.
it is digestible. We need that so bad. We need that yesterday at the moment because our clients are like, oh, I don't want to go to the site. Can I just have it in a Word doc so I can edit it there? Because the yeah. Uh, anyway, I don't like. JJ asked me today. He's like, "Do you have an easy way to do this?" I was like, "Nope,
We
can't
are
do it."
probably going to build that within the next week or two.
Amazing,
An export to Markdown,
amazing,
export Markdown.
cool,
Yeah,
sick.
it's on our list. We have a small bundle of like small improvements to make in the next round of updates, and that's for sure one of them.
Yeah.
Um,
One thing I learned from my product marketer
mhm.
that might be helpful for you, and this is how I'm having her like enumerate out a bunch of these things so that basically this came from the fact that I hopped on a workshopping call with her and I was like, I really hate the way we sell retainers, because it's infinite scope, subscription rate, and it's based on like just expected output of work, and you just kind of have to trust us that we're gonna do awesome things for
Mhm.
this amount of money, which kind of works for the most part because they like the infinite scopes things. What I've really always wanted to sell is this idea of campaigns, which is like when a client comes to us for a brand and website, they don't really want a brand and website. They want to launch their company.
Yeah.
So then at the tail end, they're like, oh, can we get social posts and can we get this? And we sell the retainer on top of that.
Mhm.
But if that's packaged as a campaign, we just sell you the whole campaign and know that we're doing all these things anyway. So then anyway, I was talking to her and she's like, yeah, like in the past, like we used to call them tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 campaigns.
Mhm.
Tier 1 you would spend a quarter on, which is your giant product launches. But then tier 3 were new feature announcement, right to the like add to the change log, brings awareness, social buzz, all that sort of stuff. Tier 2 were things that kind of get you to feature parity or to like talk about like differentiators, like you've built a new something and you're announcing it to compete and whatnot. So it's like that middle ground of work.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and what it sounds like to me is like you need a lot more tier 3,
Yeah,
like these tier 3 campaigns.
I think that's
So
that's for sure true. Like we need
yeah,
to build more shit and talk about what we're building and like
yeah,
show people why it's cool.
yeah.
Um, it also occurred to me that like kind of going back to your point of like, can you go beyond the like meta descriptions and time savings thing? Like
Mm-hmm.
the reason you bought was not because of the meta descriptions or page titles. Like I almost feel like you would have bought without the generate button at all. Like that was just kind of like a nice feature, and like
Mm-hmm.
you kind of just bought because you were like, oh, this is a really easy, lightweight web crawler.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
you get
That
more
was
value out of that than anything else. And I don't know that we talk about that nearly
yeah.
enough on the website of like, hey, like we're like, this is Screaming Frog with AI. And like
Mm-hmm.
maybe the actual value we should be pushing is like, this is Screaming Frog that won't make you want to claw your eyes out.
Yeah. I mean, I think it is Screaming Frog that won't make me. First of all, it's lightweight, but it's also the fact that it's in the cloud, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't like I can use it and then my
Yeah.
dev can use it. And that's in itself like really useful.
Yeah.
I think
And
if I
like
had
there, like
uh
Sitebulb has a cloud crawler,
I
but
see.
it starts at $250 a month for a million URLs. And that's just so much more than most people need.
Right.
Um,
Right.
Although again, if our base plan is $100 a month for 2,500 URLs, that you start to go, these two things feel kind of comparable now. Versus if our base plan is like $50 a month for 2,500 URLs, base agency plan.
Mm. I
Um,
do think I do think while I bought because of the lightweight scraping, that's not the value my team gets out of it though.
yeah.
Like the value my team gets out of it is the fact that there's an authority telling them what a better meta description is
Hmm.
for this thing, which is, I mean, I use it too. Like if I don't want to think about it, I guess for me it's there is the time saving aspect, but I think it's time savings plus the trust that it is going to be better.
Yeah.
Right. I'm trying to buy like aspirationally the performance increase of that,
Like
which
the better click through rates on
right,
pages.
right,
Yeah.
like why meta descriptions matter. If like I don't know, where's my white paper on? Don't do a white paper, but where's the blog
Well,
post
this
on?
is the other awkward thing is like all the research I've seen lately says meta descriptions don't matter. Page titles matter a lot. Meta
Oh, sure.
descriptions, like there was this big research that some SEO agency did recently that said pages actually performed better if you removed the meta descriptions entirely, which is wild.
That is wild. I can. So, what? Okay, sorry. When I said meta description, I also meant page title, but like
Yeah.
it being a better page, like better page titles do help
Yeah.
me.
Those,
Like,
everyone seems to still say that those matter a lot.
mhm,
That having good page titles, yeah, makes a big difference.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
yeah, I think that's right too. That like our um, being the authority. But again, going back to like, is our ICP going to be marketing agencies or is it going to be SEO agencies?
right.
I think that SEO agencies don't want to outsource the authority necessarily. Like they want to be the authority.
Mm,
So like, and SEO agencies are different. They come in all sorts of different shapes and sizes. But
right.
like I keep going back to like one of my best friends runs a really successful SEO agency that does like high ticket work with
Mm,
like big name B2B SaaS brands.
yep.
And I've I showed him MetaMonster and I showed him and he's currently actively onboarding with a quasi competitor called AirOps. This like
Mm,
um AirOps is much more complicated. It's more about building SEO and AI like workflows.
yeah.
Um these like kind of complicated workflows. Um and like the complication is part of the value to him because he's like we still are bringing some expertise here in setting up these workflows and knowing like what the flow should be.
Right.
Um, and
I hate that so
MetaMonster,
much, by the way. I hate that with a burning passion. But
that's
I
fair, but like
yeah.
MetaMonster feels too point and click to him. It's like,
Mm,
yeah, like MetaMonster, we've been building MetaMonster to be a little bit more of a point and shoot camera versus a DSLR.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
and the people who like a point and shoot are the people who are like, I don't want to have to learn how to mess with all the knobs. I just want it to work.
Yeah. But I mean, like point and shoots work well not only for the casual photographer but also for the professional street photographer who needs who has those specific needs. So hmm.
Anyway, I think the reality is like we don't have product market fit.
Right.
And we're a long way off from there, and there's a lot of question marks, but at least now we're live. There's
Yeah.
no more like we're still in alpha. No, we're
Yeah.
our beta's
We-
live. People can sign up and pay for it, and we can start learning.
I think that's a huge victory, by the
It
way,
is.
I-
Yeah,
because it unlocks the ability to finally do the learning.
even if it's just mental, even if like we could have been doing this learning all along and we're trying to do what we could, like
Mhm.
now it's like more feels
Yeah.
more open or official or something.
Yeah.
So
Sweet.
yeah, I'm excited. We'll see. I'm frustrated and excited all at the same time.
Yeah. I feel that. I get that. Yeah. I mean, I had to, there was one I had to shut down, like the SaaS
Yeah,
before. That
it's
was,
part of being a founder.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Um, dude, tell me about your SaaS, the one that is
Okay.
not shut down, that is actively being worked on,
It is actually
because
being
I'm
worked
pretty
on.
stoked by the demo that I just saw.
Yeah. So would you tell me more? What'd you think? Also, by the way, it's not. Let me just answer your question. I realized I ghosted you earlier. I don't know how long it takes to submit to the Webflow app marketplace because we have not submitted it yet
Okay.
because we don't have a name
Okay.
and we're stuck on this right now. But tell me
We'll
what you
talk about
thought.
the name thing in a second. Um, to be brutally honest,
Yeah.
my thought when I saw the demo was, fuck, Sean's going to get to product market fit before I do. Which is like
Hell yeah.
a shitty thing to think, because like I shouldn't be jealous of you, I should be stoked for you, but I was genuinely like, this thing is already like useful, and
See,
uh I'm sure there's some SaaS crap you need to put in place to be able to start selling it and everything, but I was like, this thing is already better than the Webflow CMS. And like, if Sean can market this the right way, I don't see how this isn't successful.
okay. So I have two thoughts for you because when you said salty, this came into my head. One, I think you are comparing my potential for success with your current reality.
Sure.
By the way, just saying, you lower yourself.
Sure. Yeah.
Um,
That's fair.
um, two. Actually, I don't remember what the second part was. I kind of had, I had the really smart thing to say, and then two was like, uh, y- yeah, kind of, maybe, but I think the the
The more
reason
important
we
thing
went.
here, besides my fragile ego, is
Uh,
you've built a really fucking cool demo, and I am really excited and think it has a ton of potential.
thanks. I also think it's a lot of. I think it has a lot of potential. I think it has. Okay, one, I think it has a lot of potential. I think it's because it was an educated guess based on all like multiple clients begging for it. Um, and we've built like mini tools to solve that. So now it's sort of all of that together. Um, so yeah, I'm excited about it. Okay, so I should talk about what it is, right? Because we haven't. Okay. I don't know. We're kind of out of time, so maybe next episode.
Ah, fuck it. No,
Okay.
no. Come on. We
Okay.
can run a little long.
Okay. So blogging in Webflow sucks. That's my headline, by the way. Blogging in Webflow sucks. And as an agency, because blogging in Webflow sucks so much, plenty of all of our clients are always asking us like, "Hey, can you stage this blog for me?" Which also sucks. That's because they're always writing Google Docs, they're copying it, and they're like someone always writes in Google Docs and it gets copied and pasted into Webflow. Nobody blogs inside of that thing. So
I'm not
why
sure
would
that's going to totally change, because Google Docs is still like has all of the like editing and collaboration and commenting features that will take you a
totally,
while to build, and like there's also just value to having things separate from your CMS.
totally, yeah. Nobody should be blogging necessarily inside of yeah. Um. Anyway, it's basically just like a wrapper on top of Webflow CMS that has a much better editing experience, and it solves two things. One, it solves the one is that we have custom content types that pushes to what like you write in that editor. it feels like you're writing in like a Notion or something, and you press publish and it publishes the Webflow, but you get to add in content types, and we'll constantly continue to release content types, so like tables, for example, or columns, and all these things that our clients have asked for. And we always just go and have to like hack it together with like HTML and put it in there. So we're solving that problem, and the other problem that we're trying to solve is the roles based access problem, which is the fact that like as our clients, basically Webflow CMS is not built for the same content velocity as like other like a WordPress is, and we're trying to bridge that gap. But if a website wants to have high content velocity, a website needs to have multiple writers. And the last thing as a, let's say, an editor in chief of like as I outsource to writers all across the world, or contractors or whatever, the last thing I want is one contractor to accidentally go and delete something else in a different CMS. And Webflow has never had this sort of like these controls. Worst is that editors get to edit static things on the site, so we need to kind of separate it and pull it out. So yeah, that's what we're doing. And now we have reached our biggest roadblock. After our first big roadblock was finding a developer who could do this stuff, but our second roadblock is I have no idea what to name this thing. And I can't submit it to Webflow's marketplace until I have a name for it. Um,
So what are the
yeah.
top contenders right now? What are your favorite names
Okay.
from, because you started the thread in the Miscreants channel,
Yep.
and asked your team to help you name it. And there were a
Yep.
lot of good ideas floating around in there, although a lot of them don't come with .coms. So
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know how much that matters to you. I think I agree with something Rob said on a recent episode
Mhm.
of Startups for the Rest of Us, which is that like probably having the .com doesn't matter so much anymore. Like .ai, .io, I don't love
Mhm.
.co, but like
Mhm.
there's a handful that work
Yeah.
pretty
.so for this
pretty
sort of
well.
stuff, right?
.so
Feathers.
works pretty well, yeah.
Mhm.
Um, I don't like .co just because I think people still get it confused with .com, and so it just
Definitely.
is like, yeah,
Definitely.
it's just a little
Yeah.
bit of a UX trap.
Yeah.
Um, but I think he's right that like trying to keep the name of the product directly, like not having like try
Oh,
feather
yeah. Yeah.
or
Yeah. Yeah.
whatever. Like we used to be builtbycrit.com,
Yeah.
and like our name was Crit, but everyone thought our name was built by Crit.
Totally.
And until we got crit.com. And then once we had crit.com, people started calling us Crit.
Yeah.
And so like, yeah, I do think that having the name of the product be directly the name of the domain does probably matter.
I think that is the. I think that's um the what do you call it? Like it's a priority. It is that's one of the goals. .com would be nice. I think I have to like sacrifice one or the other
Yeah,
for something like this, unless I can think
100%.
of something.
Also,
Um,
especially since you like plain English word names.
yeah,
You
yeah,
like your list that you gave people was like miscreants, ballpark, ironclad. Like those are all just dictionary words, and
yeah,
you you can't get a dictionaryword.com for a,
yeah.
an amount that makes sense to drop on a pre-revenue product.
I'd still drop it. um, yes, agreed. I do think sometimes, like back when I was doing the seltzer thing, like when it was called Next Hops, like drinknexthops.com wasn't bad as a domain. So there's like very rare occasions where I think it's okay, but
I agree. I
yeah.
think he can, and I think he can almost always work. It's just going to annoy the shit out of you. Like I would,
Oh, totally, totally.
yeah.
I hate the moment you have to do app dot that URL.
Mm-hmm.
Then it's
App
gonna
dot
then,
try
yeah, 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 it's
feather
gonna
or whatever.
I'm gonna lose my fucking mind.
What do you think about the names that have CMS in them?
So it was interesting. Like,
Because there's a lot of really good ones that have CMS in them.
yeah,
Like I did my little AI name thing, and I got Pulley CMS, Squish CMS, which I thought was
dude,
hilarious.
Squish was so good. I actually really like Squish.
Unfold CMS, Chronicle
Uh-huh.
CMS, Arcane CMS,
Yeah,
Poplar CMS, Simpler CMS.com. Like that's a boring one. It's too boring for you. You won't go for it. But like
no, that's
Simpler
frustrating.
CMS is like kind of fucking brilliant.
That's actually really good. That's genuinely very. Does that have a .com available?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Oh shit. Maybe maybe it will be simpler CMS.
Simpler
Uh,
CMS is kind of fucking perfect.
I kind of hate it. By the way,
I
now that
figured. I figured you
yeah.
would.
It's kind of like how Airbnb used to be like Air Bed and Breakfast,
Uh-huh.
or these like other startups that have way shittier names, and now finally,
What's there's the guy who's really successful in the indie hackers community who's like simple CRM or easy CRM or something like that.
I don't know.
Do you know this guy?
I feel like I know what you're talking about, but no.
Simple CRM? It's something like that.
Um,
It's a CRM product and it's um uh maybe it's easy CRM.
hmm. Um, yeah, I don't know. I was also thinking about the CMS stuff. Uncertain. It's not a it's not a CMS, but
But it kind of is.
it kind of is in a way.
Will it
Um,
evolve into a CMS? Because
it'll
it's an editor
mhm.
on top of an existing CMS is what you're.
Right. And by the way, these things exist. I'm not the first person to build a thing like this. They exist for static site generators. For Jekyll, for Hugo, right? Forestry is a really popular one. There's a
Isn't
bunch of
Forestry dead now? Didn't they like
oh,
stop
probably.
supporting it?
I don't know. I have no idea. But the point being is that there's
Yeah.
a large number of these. I think Siteleaf is another one.
Hmm.
But yeah,
Edit Leaf is available, by the way, editleaf.com.
I
Um,
think that's just gonna sound like Siteleaf.
yeah. I mean,
Um,
I'd never heard of Siteleaf until today, so I
that's
don't know.
that's fair. That's fair. Yeah,
Yeah, I was hoping for like something good like editor. Uniform editor isn't terrible. Um
yeah,
uh minimal editor is again too a little too boring, I think,
yeah,
for you.
yeah. I think I'm it's kind of like buying a place in New York, right? You have 6 things in your criteria, and you're only ever gonna get 4 of them, and you just have to live with it, right? Um, you get the really nice place, but it's gonna I don't know, it's not gonna be south facing, and you just have to prioritize that sort of stuff, and that's sort of where I'm at with this writing thing. I think I'm okay with it not being a plain English word, even though I really like compound words, like ballpark, which is Andrew Wilkinson's previous freelancer invoicing platform. It's just such a good name. There's so much branding potential to it.
Wait, I thought that one wasn't Andrew Wilkinson. I thought that was the other Holdco guy from Tennessee who I
Oh,
used.
maybe I don't. One of the
Um,
Holdco guys.
yeah, there's like some other. Uh,
Yeah, I thought
by the way,
ballpark
they're
was
getballpark.com.
okay.
Were,
Well,
were
whatever.
they ever
Just
tiny? Yeah. They're owned by Simple Focus. They were owned by
okay.
Tiny, and Simple Focus bought them.
Okay.
But
That makes
Simple
sense.
Focus is an agency holdco, or it started with an agency. It's now a holdco that owns a bunch of like little SaaS products.
Yeah.
Um,
Um, I think about okay. So like I think about Lex and how it's Lex.page, and that's pretty cool. Um, there's another editor that the
oh,
super fast
I
people.
do like dot page. I don't hate dot page at all.
Mhm. Yeah. There's no flow. You can't get flow.page, unfortunately.
But I don't think you'd want to be flow dot page because then what is your name? Is your name flow page? Is your name flow? Like
Yeah.
you don't want your name to be flow. Um,
Yeah.
and like
That's a
Lex,
very tracker.
people
That's a
sometimes
very
refer to Lex as Lex.page, but I think it's like again because it's like
right.
the one word in the actual like
Right.
domain. I think it's Lex, and
Right.
so you wouldn't want to be flow. Um, hmm.
Yeah.
I liked of the
WF
ones the
blocks was
other
crazy
folks
as
on the
well.
team suggested. I liked Bureau
I
from
can't do
Ben.
Bureau. I just suggested Bureau. Bureau. I just named one of my friends apps Bureau.
Okay.
So I can't.
Um, Binder is kind of fun.
Mm.
Uh,
Yeah.
Binder is fun. It makes me think of like you could do like throwback
Yeah.
90s school vibes, like
Yeah.
getting ready for
Little
school.
JanSport backpacks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I kind of like Binder. Um, I like drafted is obviously fantastic, but like
for sure.
drafted.page
There's no way. That's
can't be.
yeah.
I don't like spinach.
I know. I know. I know. Wait. Okay. Wait. So let me
To
tell
be
you something.
honest, I
Lo-
don't like any of yours.
That's okay. That's fine. We can. You can tell JJ that then. Those are the one. Okay. So before I did this exercise 2 days
Uh-huh.
ago, I went and sat and like put down like themes to kind of go riff off of names for, right?
Mhm.
One theme is power ups for Webflow. That's where spinach comes from. Other
Okay.
ones are like
Okay.
Fireflower, Merlin, NZT,
Once
etc.
you say that, I hate it less.
Good,
Spinach, I
good,
think,
good.
is my favorite of the name.
Okay, we're not gonna go with spinach because it's supposed to be Popeyes themed and like
No, I don't want to. I wouldn't do Popeye themed.
th- anyway. Um,
I'm
other
just
other
shitting
themes
on.
are
I'm shitting on this
it's
so
okay,
much.
it's okay, it's okay. I hate all these names, so it doesn't matter. Other themes are like for like content marketing, and other themes like smooth foods, um, because like Butter Docs is a thing, and they're a cool writer. They're never gonna publish the Webflow, even though this project was never gonna happen until like I got Butter Docs. I was like, this is great, and I emailed the guy, and I was like, can you make this publish the Webflow? He was like, that's not on our roadmap. Sorry. Why would we do that? I think he was nicer about it. I think he was asking for more.
Drafted.page is available. So is Binder. I wonder if
Binder.
draft.page is available.
There's no way.
There's no way draft.page
Yeah. Or it's like $10,000.
taken. Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense.
Drafted.page is available. And binder.page are both available.
I think I think Binder is cool. There's
I
something
think
interesting
binder's kind
about
of
Binder.
fun.
Yeah.
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 Shout out to uh Albane.
Alban. Alban.
Albon.
Alban's a new product marketer. She's killing
Hey,
it.
cool.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
much added value. Um okay, let me run you through some other themes.
Okay.
Or let me run you through each one for the themes. Okay. Um there's the theme for
Naming
content
is
marketing.
like my favorite thing in the entire world, by the
Naming
way.
is my favorite thing in the entire world. We should just make a naming podcast.
Austin and I used to like have a
Uh,
running competition for like who could name the most crit client projects or crit projects. For a while, almost all of my names got. I had him like
nice,
5-1 or something,
nice,
but then he started to win out over me after a while.
nice.
One of my all time favorites was Pigeon. Pigeon was
That's good.
such a good name for like a healthcare messaging app.
Yeah. All right, so name mine. What the hell, man?
I've been trying.
Pulley
I
is
got
good.
you simplercms.com, bro.
Simpler CMS is good. I'll register Simpler CMS before we.
If you don't, I want to buy it from you if I ever build an actual CMS.
Yeah, do it. If I don't use it,
Maybe I'll buy it right now before you can.
go for it.
All right, tell me your
um.
themes. Tell me your themes, and
Okay.
then
Okay.
let's get
Okay.
out of here.
Okay. Smooth foods. So like mousse, pudding, butterscotch, risotto, flan, crepe. Paper movings like Russell, collate, bindery, decal. Like I have another one about like fluid dynamics. So like
Kerning or
laminar,
something? Kern? I don't know. Something there. I don't know.
kernel, popcorn, maybe. There's like themes on like fluid dynamics because it's like easy.
Kernel's
Outpour,
kind of cool. Like there's
laminar,
like a kernel of truth in a piece of content. A kernel explodes into something bigger and
kernel,
better.
kernel.page, kernel,
No, that sounds awful.
kernel,
I don't know that
kernel page.
kernel also sounds too much like COLONEL kernel like and
Colonel Sanders.
yeah.
Buy your thing. You'll get KFC with your subscription. Another theme was like writing your best work. So like that's where Caliber came from, Opus, like Magnum Opus, Watershed, Crescendo, Pantheon, Epitome, Bedrock, Airtight. And then another theme was like writing things that resonate. So like Reverb, Groundswell, Encompass, Symphonic. Um, and then I also written down like Cadence, Cadence.so, which I like the most out of all of it for like a separate thing for what it's worth. I think I've pitched you on like what Cadence would be, in the past.
Cadence is your changelog thing.
No. That's called Wind Chime.
Okay.
Yeah. But it's an internal tool, so it doesn't matter what it's called. I just
Okay.
yeah, and then I wrote down things like Highline, Furnish, Immaculate, Glacier, Grease. I don't like any of them. So yeah, Fireflower. I like.
Opus is pretty good. It made me think of Opal, like the like
That's also what it makes me think of, which is
yeah.
why. Yeah.
Call it Magnum. Magnum.
Magnum dogs.
Be
Magnum dogs.
super like toxically masculine, and with everything you do. God. Yeah, I gotta say, so far my favorites are Binder and Simpler CMS. I think those are my two favorites. I also, for the record, I like weird names that are just like so strange that it sticks in your head. I like simple, straightforward names where it's just obvious what it is.
Same.
And I like names that give me an animal mascot, an obvious, adorable mascot. Like I'm still sad that Link Ferret became MetaMonster, because as much as I love MetaMonster as a name and I love the like little monster and like that we named our company Monster Endeavors, I had such a cute. I was gonna have so much fun with like the cute little ferret, and I'm
furry.
a little heartbroken. I mean, I'm having fun with cute little monsters, but like, the ferret was gonna be so cute.
Yeah, I mean, you could still do Link Ferret. Like.
Yeah, but I want MetaMonster to do everything.
Yeah, that's fair. Oh well, the monster part, the monster stuff is better. I think it opens up a lot of more possibilities.
It does. It does for sure.
Yeah.
Also, Monster Endeavors, I love as our
Yeah.
holding company name.
Yeah. You can have Simpler CMS. You can register it.
Nah.
I mean, fine. I can squat it, and then we can see who needs it.
So you're officially not using Simpler CMS. Why do you hate me, Sean?
I want you. Okay, you gave me you gave me three types of names: animal, straightforward, and like weird as hell that sticks in your brain. Where's my weird as hell that sticks in your brain name?
Yeah, we don't have an animal one for you either.
What's an animal that writes?
I immediately think like owls or
Same.
meerkats, maybe.
I think about the owl that licks the lollipop and asks you how many licks takes to get to the center.
Like owls or like a meerkat or is there just an animal that does like cool communication, has some sort of cool communication style?
Dolphins. Some bird. Maybe I'll pick a bird.
Sure.
Cardinal.
One of my favorite product names that we actually built and launched. We launched an MVP in a week.
Sick.
It was called Albatross.
Yeah, Albatross was good.
That was a good name. That was a good name. It was going to be like tying your time tracking to your estimates. So kind of like a very, very simple version of Parallax, where like you just make estimates for a project and then you track your time according to like the buckets that you created in your estimate, and then it shows you like a progress bar as you're working to see like how, when you're approaching your estimates and like when you've gone over, and like help you revise your estimates over time.
Nice. That's good. Albatross is good.
Yeah. No one wanted it. Well, it wasn't that no one wanted it. It was that everyone had a different way of doing time tracking. And so like getting people to like follow a format for time tracking was going to be next to impossible.
Anyway, so drop ideas in the comments, please. Well, if you're watching this on YouTube, please help. I don't know what the call is. I'm so stuck. I've never had so much trouble with naming a thing before. That's not true. I've only ever had trouble naming one other thing before, which is if I were to ever like have a holdco.
Yeah.
One of my favorite names is still Disco Shrimp.
I love Disco Shrimp Company.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I didn't come up with that. I just stole it from my uncle.
That's great. That's awesome. My two favorite holdco names are Disco Shrimp and Golden Walk.
Golden Walk is amazing. That's a wonderful. Yeah. The hardest thing I've ever tried to name was like the gray noise sensors.
Mm.
We ended up just calling them sensors.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's with a Z. I
Yeah.
mean,
Man,
it's
I
really
tried so many things and just nothing fit, or it was like there's like I tried to call it like Hive. Like I think our internal name for it was Hive for a long time or something like
mm,
that. But Morris was adamantly against B names because like they'd been done so many times.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so
What about cabinet?
your old idea cabinet.
Yeah, but to use the name
I don't know if it works as well here.
because it's like a file folder. Hmm. You're not sold.
I'm not sold. I like Binder better if you're gonna go in that direction.
Yeah. Composition notebook. College ruled. Yeah.
Number 2.
Number two. Could really lean into that one. There's yeah.
Except then you've just got poop emojis everywhere.
Yeah. That's terrible. That's awful. Like you've seen the product. Yeah, I don't know, man. I'll hopefully by the next time we meet, we'll have settled on a name.
You could name it after like a pen or a pencil company or something. Like call it Ticonderoga.
Ticonderoga. No one will be able to spell that.
Do you remember those though? Like
Yeah,
Ticonderoga pencils?
dude, I
They were a
love the
thing.
Tiger.
They
Yeah,
were nice as hell.
yeah,
With the shiny green font.
yeah, man. Ever like, I think back to those pencils every time I have to use a pencil that's not either a Dixon Ticonderoga or a Blackwing. Um, all other pencils just suck. We were spoiled as a kid.
Is there a pen that people like? I mean, I guess now you're getting into copyright infringement, like potential.
Yeah,
So,
depends.
hmm.
Yeah, I don't know.
Cool. Well, I hope
We'll see.
you come up with a name
Thank you.
for your very cool product.
Thank you.
And I hope I figure out how to get customers for MetaMonster.
Me too. Me too. We should jam on it off this podcast.
Or on the next podcast.
That's I can also just not talk to you for a week. That's fine too.
No, I definitely want to jam. All
Um,
right, man. This was
all
fun.
right. I'll see you later. Bye.
Peace.
Thanks.